Are you excited about it?
Yes, of course. We've been standing in line for 2 hours. I gotta pee.
I didn't stop laughing the whole time, so it's really good. This was like off the hook. It was the bomb.
They'd never seen a Korean American role model like me before. You know, I didn't play violin.
Hilarious.
Great.
It was touching at times, too, like really heartfelt.
Once upon a time, I had my own TV show called All American Girl.
It'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh, you know.
She just tells it the way it is.
Miss Cho, isn't it true that the network asked you to lose weight to play the part of yourself? On your own TV show.
Super ass. That is the best way to describe it. Super ass.
Margaret Cho is my new hero. You will not stop laughing.
She deals with all these really tough issues that a lot of people are afraid to talk about anyway.
Am I gay? Am I straight? And I realized I'm just slutty. Where's my parade?
I laughed my ass master off on the show.
Descoro es besto.
She's a scream. She's a stitch.
She's just mesmerizing. Bring diapers. It's too funny.
And I'm gonna stay here and rock the mic until the next Korean American, fag hag, shit starter, girl comic, trash talker comes up and takes my place.
When's the movie open?
I love the word faggot. Here comes the bass! Woo! Stick it in! I'm here to walk your vagina.
I'm the One That I Want came about from me getting to a place in my life where I really felt like I wanted to talk about the bad experiences that I had in television in a very honest way. And so it came from my stand-up act, which was evolving and changing, and I was evolving and changing a lot at the time. I had been really unhappy for many years, and coming out of that depression, which was, in a sense, brought about by my experiences in television, really made me see things more clearly. It made me want to write material that was deeper, that was more emotionally profound, that was more raw.
Hey Gwen, yeah, you really rocked me. Seriously, man. I cannot get it that clean at home. You know what I'm saying? All right.
The first time I performed I'm the One That I Want in its entirety was at a university. It was a show at, I think it was the University of Santa Barbara, and it was amazing. It was just like this kind of impromptu thing where I put it all together just to see where the material would lie and how it looked all at once, and it was remarkable.
Fag hags, backbone of the gay community.
The show was amazing, and it got a standing ovation for the first time I did it, and so I knew that I had hit upon a really good thing. It was like this perfect combination of what I was used to doing in stand-up and my new persona as this kind of emotional shaman. So it was a lot of fun to rediscover myself as a performer in that way.
Fueled by her onstage success, Margaret started an 11-week run at the Westbeth Theater in New York.
Performing the show at the Westbeth Theater Center for as long as I did was really interesting because it forced me to really work out every beat of the show. I had to do it every night, and I had to make it interesting and fresh for myself, and I was exposed to a really great audience.
After her critically acclaimed New York run, Margaret hit the road with I'm the One That I Want.
The experience of the tour was a lot like the kind of life that I'm used to. Being on the road for all that time is something that I've been doing since I was 16 years old. I am more comfortable on the road than off the road. So doing a 40-city tour is really not a big deal for me. I mean, my life is like a series of 40-city tours.
Thank you very much,
I think that the reaction from city to city really wasn't that different, because wherever I go, the same people come to see me. It's always the freaks. It's always the trash. It's always the gays. It's always the Asian people. It's always the people of color. It's always the sexual communities, the alternative sex communities. It's always the people who don't feel that they hear their voice out there in the media.
It really means a lot to me, and it is. Nobody it really is important. But I think it's cool. I think that somebody is out there saying that, because we're not perfect, and there's no reason that we should try to be.
You know, wherever I go, it's the same kind of people, the same kind of crowd. It feels like family to me. It always feels like home to me.
You want to come to the party? This is Margaret's show. I'm outside of the State Theater. I'm just talking to Katie. She gave me the phone.
Katie and Paul.
Caitlin. Caitlin, but I have to go. But, no, I have to go. She said, hold on. Oh, no, my God. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I have to go to the other side.
No,
yeah.
Margaret.
Go to the other side and talk to her. I have to go to the other side. She's stealing your phone. Bye. Oh, bye.
Soon it became clear to Margaret and her manager that they wanted to shoot a film version of the show.
When I was on the road with Margaret and watching the audience reaction and watching the show, I knew we had a phenomenon happening. I was watching one of the greatest comedians ever on stage, doing some of the most amazing things and getting some of the most incredible responses ever. To not be able to document that somehow would have been such a waste.
I wanted to do a film version of I'm the One That I Want because I felt like it was what I do best, and a place in my career where I would like to remember what I do best.
During a tour stop in Los Angeles, Margaret and Karen began to assemble the production team. They started with the producer, Lorene Machado. The three women had worked together before when Machado booked Margaret on a Bob Hope comedian special in 1992.
Find Lorene Machado. Find her.
I was working on a television show called World's Wildest Police Videos, and I was in hell.
Get her off of America's Wildest Police Chases and bring her to me immediately. She has got to produce this movie.
Karen Tausig, who is Margaret's manager and the executive producer of this movie, called and offered me a way out of hell, which was basically producing this movie, and I jumped on it.
With the producer in place, the team began searching for the director, someone uniquely qualified to handle the job.
It was really important to me that the director had the courage to get out of the way of Margaret's talent. Yeah.
Machado suggested her childhood friend Lionel Coleman, who is now an Emmy Award-winning documentary filmmaker and commercial director.
I sent a reel to Lorene, and she said, yeah, this guy, I think he can work. I know him. I can certainly vouch for him. So that led to a meeting with Margaret.
Like Margaret, Coleman was also a San Francisco native. In their initial meeting, they discovered that they had a lot in common.
I had known of Margaret, probably from my time in the Bay Area. She was, the local Bay Area girl who'd sort of made it. And, when we started speaking, I asked her what high school she went to, and, she said I did a stint at Lowell, and, I was thrown out of there. And I says, oh, son of a gun, I was thrown out of there myself.
They also found that they shared a love of traditional stand-up films.
One of the things that Margaret and Karen and I all had in common, and Lionel, is that we were real fans of the stand-up genre. We're real fans of Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. Like Richard Pryor's Long Beach Concert is one of my favorite films of all time.
I had been such a fan growing up of Richard Pryor's films, Live at the Sunset Strip, really showed me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so it was a way to do tribute to him and tribute to the work that I had accomplished.
She had certainly studied some of the earlier works of Eddie Murphy in Raw and Richard Pryor's Live on the Sunset Strip, and that was really the method of operation that we went for in this, with a little bit of an updated look. We want to seem like cameras just happen to be in the audience for this particular show, and I really agreed that, you know, it shouldn't be sort of an HBO comedy special where the whole place is lit up and it's friendly and bright and everything. We really wanted to actually take the, to steal a phrase from the photographer Robert Frank, more truth and less art approach to it.
When I saw Lionel's resume and he saw Margaret, and he said to me, less art, more truth. That was it. That's what I wanted.
With pre-production of the film underway, Margaret continued her grueling tour schedule. The overwhelming success of her New York City run followed her across the country, and she consistently sold out theaters at every stop.
I loved doing these venues that were these great grand theaters, you know, shows that I had seen at these theaters changed my life. You know, places like the Warfield, where I'm the one that I went was shot. You know, places like that are really a big deal for me as a fan to go to. So to perform there, it's even a greater honor, you know, more than I can even express in words.
How much is the bus?
When I'm on the road, I meet people in the oddest places because I always try to see the sights whenever I'm in any certain town, and I was in Minneapolis and I had to go to the Mall of America. And the only way to go to the Mall of America properly is to take the bus, which I did all the way across the city. And I got on the bus, and there were these ladies that were so excited to see me. They recognized me and they were just huge fans.
Margaret Cho. Oh my Lord, how do you do? I love your stuff. Oh, I just love your stuff. Because my name is Margaret also. But there he was only about 10, 11 months there in those pictures.
He's great.
You know, it was really exciting to meet them and talk to them, and it made the ride so much more enjoyable.
Mall of America. It's not the Mall of Canada. It's not the Mall of Mexico. It's not the Mall of France. Oh my God. It's the Mall of America.
Back in Los Angeles, the producers discussed the possibility of shooting the film locally, which would give them more time to prepare. But the Warfield in San Francisco seemed to be the perfect choice, even though Margaret's show there was less than a month away.
I chose to shoot I'm the One That I Want at the Warfield just because I had seen so many shows there growing up that meant so much to me, and San Francisco is my hometown, and I knew that it would be just great to do it there.
A stunning theater on San Francisco's Market Street, the Warfield was certainly a picturesque location, but its unique design posed some problems.
When I got up to scout the location one time with the director, there was a lot of things. For the first time we saw the location, and we realized what we were up against, so we had to change tactics. You know, we wanted multiple crane shots, and now we realized we couldn't get that. We wanted a large crane, and we knew that we couldn't get that.
And then another thing that we're dealing with is, you know, hey, we don't want to take out any seats because we want this to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. So how do we place cameras and not obstruct the view of, you know, paying people and Margaret Cho fans?
A week before the film shoot, the crew left for San Francisco. Because they had been working out of their homes, it was the first time that everyone was assembled under one roof.
Eventually, our team, the core production people, we finally got up there a week before at the Hotel Miyako. And we were able to start seeing where we still had things missing. But the most wonderful thing about that is now there's instant communication. We're all there. We're all working as a team in a centrally located area to make sure that everything ran smoothly.
Right. Yeah, I go with this as the curtain, and This guy here is sort of the little drape.
We were working 14, 16-hour days, and we had a blast. It was amazing how much fun we had. We were laughing the entire time. But it was just, we made it fun, you know, and everybody that we worked with was great. I mean, everybody pitched in. It was very much a team effort, and it was nice to work in that environment.
I never doubted for a second that Margaret was going to have the material, that she had the stuff. It was, are we going to be able to do justice to her show technically?
Welcome, everybody.
Because of budget restrictions, the production was not able to rent the Warfield for a separate setup day. They had one day to load in, set up, shoot the early and late show, and get out. Luckily, the entire technical crew was comprised of San Francisco locals, and they arrived fresh and ready for work. But the pressure was on, and everyone felt it, especially Margaret.
The night that we shot the film was so incredibly stressful for me. I was really sick. I had been battling this flu for literally months, and I just couldn't get better. And earlier that week, I had lost my voice, and I was just having a really hard time with getting up the energy to do the show. And not only that, you know, we're shooting the film, and we're doing 2 shows in a night, which was something that I hadn't really done.
The key issue was making sure that Margaret could conserve her energy. That meant limited rehearsal time.
We took a look at Margaret for a split second. That, I think, was the key to me as a director on this film, which is, let's not bother her too much, as she was going to have to be expending a whole lot of energy doing 2 live shows. You know, there's no redos. And I think that the biggest justice that I could have done was to sort of back off and not ask for too much from her.
I remember that whole day just being so freaked out, not really sure what I was going to do and where it was going to go.
And then coming out in the explosion, that's going to be scary.
Margaret wasn't the only one who was nervous. The crew was now facing the reality of shooting 60,000 feet of 35mm film with 4 cameras.
We ran through more film than most films do in 6 weeks. We did it in 4 hours. So 4 cameras rolling at one time. It was just incredible the amount of footage they went through, and if it didn't get it in 2 hours, we didn't get it. So that was kind of intimidating, very intimidating.
I had this big nightmare that we were going to shoot 60,000 feet of film and then nothing was going to sync up.
Seat 3, take 1.
4 cameras, it was like, whoo. And being able to coordinate all the movements Margaret was going to make on stage. Because, again, this is a live performance, and even though she had a rehearsed blocking for herself, anything goes.
What do you think of Warfield, Margaret?
I'm amazed. It's like so fucking scary to be up here. It's like so weird.
We wanted to shoot film with this, so there are magazines that were dedicated to each camera. And all of the magazines, unfortunately, they do have a feet per roll limit. We didn't have the unlimited film magazine for this project. I guess we couldn't afford that.
Second stick.
Just kidding. Those don't exist. They're 1,000-foot loads, and I think that technically what one has to sort of watch out for is never to really run out of film at all of the cameras at one time.
I didn't worry because Lorene was there, and I knew that she had everything under control. I don't think she realized that she did, but I did.
How does it feel?
I don't know. I'll get back to you.
Second sticks.
And then my parents were coming, which was like another thing.
Who are you guys here to see?
Oh, yeah, good question. Came to see her. It's Margaret's mother.
I was really worried about my parents coming to see the show.
My parents are coming. Everybody's lying and saying they're not coming because I said, don't tell me if they're coming because I don't want to know. And I told them specifically not to come. And they're coming against my will, and I can't do anything to stop them, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because they've never seen me perform before. And it's like, that to me is really scary.
When I do my mother on stage, I never do her to her face. This performance was pretty much me just doing it to her face.
Are you Margaret Cho fans?
I cannot say it right now.
Can you guess? Take a guess.
So it was really scary. And I was scared until I saw her in the lobby before the show, and she was looking around at all the people, and she was saying, "Do you know me? I am so famous." And then I wasn't scared anymore.
How was it looking at the Warfield?
It's beautiful. It's like so amazing. I mean, it's just like, I was kind of excited and I'm really excited.
Both shows were sold out, and the audience was ready to see their hometown girl.
And then I go outside, and there's just sort of a line of people all screaming and waiting to come in, and really just sort of a diverse variety of folks.
Look at this line. We have camped out for Margaret Cho in San Francisco. We can't be more overjoyed.
Hey, Margaret! Woo! We're having a girls' weekend out, so we decided to come see Margaret.
We're excited about Margaret Cho. We love her. She's wonderful.
I love Margaret Cho. She is so fun. Woo! Oh! I love you, Margaret. You rock.
I just love Margaret Cho.
What do you love about her?
Because she's just so crazy. She's just, I don't know, Margaret.
Okay.
The whole atmosphere inside of the Warfield was really electric. I mean, you can feel it.
The moment that was most exciting was right before the first show, right before I was about to walk out on stage, the gobo was lit up and the audience just screamed, you know? And I started screaming too, like, "Oh my God, she's gonna come out!" Like, I was so excited. Like, I really lost the idea that I had to perform. I thought that I was going to see somebody. So I just got caught up in the excitement of it.
1 minute.
What I equate it to is a roller coaster ride. You know, we get on and, you know, we're all laughing and thinking, oh, this is going to be so great. And then by the time the show is starting, you know, you're looking over at this huge drop that you're about to make.
Once I got out there, my voice was fine and my energy was fine, and the fact that my parents were there didn't bother me, and it was all good in the end.
While Margaret floored the audience, the crew scrambled to capture the show. And it wasn't always easy.
We were really conservative with the first show. We said, nail the cameras down, get the show in the can.
The first show, I'm going to really play it very conservative.
Yeah,
and make sure that we
Okay.
get everything, and then when we're all happy, then it's like, okay, let's, you know, have 2 rovers, because I like to get one from behind.
The first show that we shot pretty much went pretty smoothly. The second show was a disaster. Technically, it was a complete disaster. The second show, we wanted to do all these fun things. Okay, we're gonna have roving cameras, and we're gonna have a dolly, and we're gonna do this and that. The roving camera completely takes a dive. So now we're stuck with 3 cameras. And then another camera took a dive too.
We had a magazine that completely froze up on us. You know, our principal, our A camera was down. So the B camera had to switch to the A camera.
I was watching Lionel and Lorene. I was up in the booth. And there were a few times that I noticed that I didn't see some of the cameras working, and I'd lean over to Lorene and I'd go, "What's going on? How come the cameras?" And I remember most of the time she'd just go, "Oh, everything's okay." But I remember one particular time she was a little worried too, and we weren't exactly sure what was going on.
There were times during the second show, I'm looking at the monitors and all I'm seeing is the floor. And and like, I'm going, what is going on with these cameras? Someone please explain this to me. And you can't just go, Margaret, I'm sorry, you're 30 minutes into the show. Can you start over? Because our camera, you know, you just got to go with what you're going with.
Blissfully unaware of any camera problems, Margaret finished both shows to thunderous standing ovations.
Oh my God, I was so good.
I really can't believe I made it, you know. I was done and I was shaking. Like 2 in the morning, I was with my friends, and we were just like, can't believe we pulled it off, you know, I can't believe we pulled it off.
I'm tired because I had a runny nose the whole time. Both shows I had a runny nose and I didn't know what to do, and then I just, I don't know, you just sort of deal with it, I guess.
For most of the crew, it was the first time they'd seen the show in its entirety.
I was so surprised at what she could do. I'd actually seen her do stand-up before, and I'd also seen her show, and I thought she was very, very funny, but I had no idea, you know, how great she was. I mean, it was just, I was blown away about how funny she could be, and at the same time, have such depth to what she was saying. You know, there was so much more that when you walked away from it, you saw so much more than what her comedy was, and it's like genius.
Every bit of the time, you know, I felt like she was there and certainly giving 100%. You know, it was a team effort on everybody's part, and I think that it stemmed from her. What she gave to us, we were able to give back to her.
Amazingly, Margaret still had several more performances of I'm the One That I Want to do. While she finished her tour, post-production started on the film.
I was really nervous when we went to transfer this film to tape to get ready to edit. I sat there and I watched them string the film up and just prayed that everything there was going to be an image on this thing. And that's not to say I don't trust anybody, but I just knew that was such a huge amount of film, and if it's not right, then we're just completely screwed. And luckily, they put it up, and her lips were moving at the same time as the sound, and there was a beautiful image up there, and so it was all good.
To save money, the edit schedule was compressed, and Robin Miguel began the daunting task of sorting through the footage.
When we started editing, the first thing that we had to do was go through all this great footage. And because she did the show in 2 performances, we had to choose which delivery of which joke really worked the best. And we had multiple camera angles, 4 cameras on each show, so there were a lot of choices.
Don't forget Kyle, you know he liked to lag behind.
So we went through and sorted out which shots were best, and then we chose the shots that would make them connect through and appear seamless. And our objective was to really make it read as if it was all shot during the same performance. And I think that we really achieved that in the end. I really watch it and forget which one was from which show.
Because of the technical problems we had that night, we ran into some trouble in the edit room. If you notice, there's like this one part of the film, and Karen and I call it the weird part of the film, where suddenly you're like looking at Margaret's feet.
I would just get down there and put on my helmet. She's a maniac, maniac.
We had no other shot to cover that with. We thought, might as well be looking at Margaret's feet because at least they're connected to Margaret, you know?
It was really easy to match one performance to the next because she would tend to use the same hand for the microphone on the same part of a joke, and she would tend to break and get water at the same point, and these are all great opportunities for an editor to switch which camera they want to go to because she was so consistent. And really on feature films, it's an ongoing problem getting people to pick up an object with the same hand and repeat the motion, and the audience never knows this, but in the edit room, it's always the big struggle trying to get a consistent performance, and Margaret is flawless. She just made it so easy for us.
Finally, the film was ready to go. At the early screenings, the crew was excited to see the final product.
When I saw it on film, I thought, you know, a secret that the world hasn't gotten a chance to see yet. It's kind of a nice feeling, you know, when you're on something that's huge.
It wasn't long before the secret was out.
When the film premiered at the San Francisco Gay and Lesbian International Film Festival, my parents were in the audience again, and this time I didn't have the luxury of distance from them as I did when I was performing it. My parents' reaction to the show was just amazing. They love the show, they love what I do, they love what I've been able to accomplish in my life. I love the fact that I was sitting in between my parents and the Ass Master fan club.
We got the smart one, the pretty one, I'm the hoe.
And they're both laughing and like looking at each other and acknowledging each other and like almost like high-fiving over me. And it was so exhilarating to be the bridge of understanding between leather daddies and old Korean people. I just wanted to say that to be here with you and with my family and with the Ass Master fan club really was a real highlight for me. I mean, I can't tell you like how emotionally I reacted. I was so moved by your reactions, your love of the film. It was really just so profound to me. And I just really have to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. And it's a very special night, and thank you all very much. The film has gotten really great reviews, and I think it's just really interesting how it's been so accepted by people. People really love it.
Indeed, the film garnered amazing reviews from both mainstream and alternative media, but many critics questioned why there were no audience reaction shots.
We always get asked about why there are no audience cutaways in this film, and that was really a deliberate decision. I don't think people need to be told when something is funny. And we really felt like it was going to pull the audience out of the audience experience, being an audience. Like, why are you suddenly turned around looking at yourself?
Every minute she's up there, there's something going on. So for us to trade a shot of Margaret being Margaret with someone in the audience laughing just wasn't worth it.
I think that what she was doing, her actions, her mannerisms, what she had to say, far more outweighed cutting away to an audience member clapping.
I love my gay male friends, but when I was a little girl, I always wished that I would be constantly surrounded by gorgeous guys, and I am, and I should have been more specific.
And we wanted to kind of make a point that when comedy films started, it was about being compelling for 90 minutes, and it wasn't about the best background or how quick you can cut or how many people are falling out of their seats and you're watching them fall out of their seats. It was about telling a story and keeping an audience involved.
I think that as far as executing that, we hit it, right on the head.
When the heavy promotion started, Margaret did what came naturally. She went on the road.
I did a lot of traveling in order to promote the film. I went to the Seattle Film Festival and premiered the film there, and the response was overwhelming. The audiences loved the film, and would talk to me afterwards. I remember one woman saying that the film changed her life. That it's not just this funny thing people go see and laugh. It's more than that. In Hawaii, what was really interesting was that the film was shown alongside documentaries and things about queer life that had a lot of emotional weight to it. So, in a sense, it wasn't just a comedy. It was more, and it became like a social phenomenon. So that was really thrilling too, to be this kind of representative of that.
So please enjoy I'm the One That I Want.
We really had to do a lot of grassroots promotion around this film because we didn't have money for advertising. It's not this film that has billions and billions of dollars to spend on billboards. We had to just really do it ourselves, and part of that was contacting people through my website and having people contact us and creating street teams in every city that the film was released, and they would go in advance and put up posters, and it was like total guerrilla advertising, and people getting the word out, and it was really all fan-based. And that was what was so exciting about it, is people's enthusiasm carried the film to other people, and they would get excited and more people would hear about it. And so the spirit of the film was really infectious, and a lot of people helped more than I can